Today we're diving into a critical issue that affects millions, the complex problem of rape and sexual violence in India. We're not just looking at statistics, we're looking at the human cost, the stories of survivors, and the systemic failures that allow this violence to persist. From deeply ingrained patriarchal attitudes to a justice system that often fails to protect survivors, we're shining a light on the uncomfortable truths that can no longer be ignored. This isn't just about pointing fingers, it's about understanding the problem in its entirety so we can start working towards solutions. So, buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into one of the most pressing human rights issues of our time.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room: patriarchy. In India, traditional gender roles often relegate women to second-class status. This power imbalance seeps into every aspect of life, from education and employment opportunities to decision-making within families. It creates an environment where violence against women can be seen as acceptable, even justified. This isn't just an Indian problem, it's a global issue, but it's one that India needs to confront head-on.
Our education system often tiptoes around the topic of sex, let alone consent and healthy relationships. This lack of comprehensive sex education leaves young people ill-equipped to navigate the complexities of sexuality and relationships. Without open and honest conversations about these issues, harmful stereotypes and misconceptions fester. When you don't even have the vocabulary to articulate what consent means, how can you possibly create a culture where it's respected and upheld?
India's legal system, while designed to protect its citizens, often fails survivors of sexual assault. The process can be agonizingly slow, expensive, and often re-traumatizing for the victims. The conviction rates for rape cases remain alarmingly low, sending a message that these crimes are not taken seriously. And let's not forget about the pervasive corruption that plagues institutions meant to uphold the law. When you have a system that is more likely to protect the perpetrator than the victim, it's clear that a major overhaul is long overdue.
Imagine being a survivor of sexual assault and then being blamed for what happened to you. This is the harsh reality for many in India, where societal stigma and victim blaming are deeply entrenched. From the clothes they were wearing to the time of day they were out, survivors are often subjected to scrutiny and judgment. This culture of shame silences survivors, forcing them to suffer in silence. The shame and blame belong solely to the perpetrators of these heinous acts, not the survivors.
The police are supposed to be the first line of defense, but for many survivors, they become another obstacle in their pursuit of justice. From insensitive questioning to outright dismissal of their cases, the police response to sexual assault can be deeply disheartening. Corruption within law enforcement further exacerbates the problem. We need comprehensive police reforms that prioritize sensitivity training, accountability measures, and a victim-centric approach. It's time to rebuild trust and ensure that law enforcement is a source of support, not an additional burden for survivors.
From Bollywood blockbusters to daily soap operas, the media often perpetuates harmful stereotypes about gender roles and normalizes violence against women. These portrayals, even if unintentional, contribute to a culture that tolerates and even excuses such behavior. The way we consume media matters. We need to be critical of the messages being conveyed and challenge narratives that objectify, demean, or glorify violence against women. By promoting responsible portrayals of gender, consent, and healthy relationships, the media can play a powerful role in shaping attitudes and influencing positive change.
Poverty, lack of education, and rapid urbanization create a toxic mix that can exacerbate sexual violence. In densely populated urban slums, where anonymity thrives and law enforcement is often absent, women and girls become particularly vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. Addressing the root causes of poverty, providing safe and affordable housing, and ensuring access to education and employment opportunities are crucial steps in tackling this multifaceted problem. Addressing the issue of rape in India requires a comprehensive approach that includes legal reform, education, cultural change, and better support systems for victims. It's a societal problem that needs sustained effort from all levels of society. Let's work together to create a safer and more equitable world for everyone. We need to challenge patriarchal attitudes, promote gender equality, and create a culture of respect and consent from the ground up. It's a long and arduous journey, but one that we must undertake for the sake of our mothers, sisters, daughters, and for the future of India. Let's turn our outrage into action, our empathy into advocacy, and our silence into a roar that demands justice, equality, and an end to this epidemic of violence.